Hi guys, I'm back doing my last video of the day. This time I'm doing a book tag. It is the 2011 book tag part 1, January through June-ish. I originally saw this on Wrath's Queen's channel, but it came originally from Book Rat Misty is the one who originated it. And if I remember, I'm going to put the link in the down bar, but I usually forget to do that, so try to find it. Book Rat Misty, 2011 book tag. Yeah, so she put January through June-ish. I'm just gonna make mine through June and cut it off before July. That way it will be split evenly in half. This is gonna be hard because I read, just counting through June, 82 books this year, and there are another 11 or 12 books. Let me see. 11 books so far that I read in just July up to now, the past couple weeks. Some of them I wanted to add, but I'm going to be good and save those for the part 2, I guess, later in the year. Some of these questions were kind of hard for me too. There's 11 questions, and I tried really hard not to, just kind of put the same answers over and over, but there were some repeats. In a lot of them you probably have heard in my other tag videos, so if it's old for you, sorry, nothing I can do about it because that's the way I feel. So I'm just going to jump right in here. Question 1. Book you're an evangelist for. Well, there are so many books that I really love, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with actually a duology. It is Eon and Iona by Alison Goodman. This is a fantasy duology. It's YA. So good. I forgot to mention in the rules, but I'm gonna put the questions in the dime bar and everything, but it was books that not necessarily needed to be published this year, books just that you read this year. Minus number 5, that the favorite covers, that has to be books published during that time. So yeah, the first one here, Eon, was actually originally from, I think, 2008. Yes, but this one, Iona, did actually come out, and I pre-ordered it, and I got it when it came out right after I read Eon. This is a fantasy duology set in an Asian-inspired world about a girl, Iona, disguised as a boy, Eon, training to become a dragoneye, which is like people who use dragon magic to like help control weather and natural disasters and that kind of stuff. Really, really good duology. Really, really good engaging writing. Fast paced, excellent characters. It just great plot. You are glued to the page. It is very gripping writing. I just cannot stop gushing over this duology. You have to read it. Question number 2. Okay, number 2 is most surprisingly good book, and I had one, but that was in July that I'm unfortunately not going to be putting in here, but for the first half of the year, it took me a while to think of this, but I did get one. That is Partners in Crime by Agatha Christie, and you might be thinking, like, why would I be surprised since I'm such a huge Agatha Christie buff? But this book, Partners in Crime, is the second Tommy and Tuppence novel, and they are a lesser known detective pairing in Agatha Christie's oeuvre. Most people are familiar with Poirot and Miss Marple. These are kind of like younger people, and they're a married couple. I wasn't really that crazy about their first book, The Secret Adversary. It was an espionage novel, and I didn't like it that much. I don't like Agatha Christie's bigger, full-blown like espionage, international crap books. This one is a series of short stories, and they all are spoofing popular detectives of the time, where Tommy and Tuppence try to use their methods. and I just loved it. It was really funny, even though a lot of the detectives are not familiar with people and therefore me anymore today. It was a really enjoyable, good mysteries, pretty funny series of short stories. So yeah, that would be Partners in Crime. Question number 3 is most disappointing so far. Well, I have 2 books that were big disappointments to me up through the month of June. The first one in chronological order is The Naming by Alison Croggan. This is a fantasy book, first in a quartet of books, about a girl who finds out she has these powers tying into like music and language, that kind of thing. Sounded interesting. The book was really, really boring. Had a lot of long just descriptions of landscapes and traveling, doing not much, and kind of cheesy, and I wasn't a fan at all. The second one, which is even more of a disappointment because I was expecting much more from it, is Grey Sling by Kristen Kishore, which it was more interesting than The Naming, but the writing, the narrative just was like so bad. A lot of people love it. I thought it was horrible. It to me was like a middle schooler wrote it. I feel like a horrible person saying this, but that's what I felt like. And this one, the same thing. But this one started out like interesting, then it got boring again. The 2 characters traveling and talking and not really doing anything. So disappointed all around with both of those books. Number 5 is oh my god, I skipped. I'm on number 4. The Funniest Book. This is hard because I don't read really many comedy books. Probably the closest I would come to is Georgette Heyer's books. She's a historical kind of Regency romance author, and she did some mysteries as well too, and they're all pretty funny. So if I had to pick one, I don't really know. I've read probably like 5 or 6 of her books so far. I'm just going to go with this one, Death in the Stacks. This is one of her mysteries, which was contemporary at the time, around the same time as Agatha Christie and Dorothy L. Sayers wrote in like 30s, I think, yeah, 1935 is this one. All her books are funny in some way, and this one I wouldn't say was the funniest or the best of the ones I've read. I just kind of picked one at random. Next one, number 5, favorite cover. Oh my god, what a surprise. It's not like it's the same cover that I have been blabbing about forever. I got Across the Universe by Beth Revis. That is out this year. The really cool, shiny, fancy, reversible cover that I am never going to stop loving. And Delirium by Lauren Oliver, because it has the cool thing with the girl hidden there. Look at it, and you can see her underneath the dust jacket. I have not talked about those before, have I? Oh, and one more. Entwined by Heather Dixon, and this one, this is a pretty common thing in YA now, to have a girl in a dress, like facing, her back away from the reader. It's in a lot of covers, like Hereafter, Die for Me. I think it started with that one, Fallen, I think, by Lauren Kate was probably the first one, I think, that started this trend, and I'm fine with the trend because I like it. But what really puts this forward for me is these sparkly flowers that kind of like changes from silver to blue, like metallic. That's really neat. I like stuff like that on covers. I'm a dork. Number 6, we have favorite character, and my favorite character is Miss Marple. Here's featured her first novel, Murder at the Vicarage by Agatha Christie. Yeah, she is a little old spinster lady, looks like a kindly, harmless old woman, and she really is a master sleuth because she knows human nature so well, and she doesn't trust anyone. She can pretty much always believe the worst of people, so she's able to solve murders and stuff really easily, and I I just love Miss Marple. Okay, number 7 is new to you series, and I'm gonna go. There are a bunch of them, but I'm gonna go with my favorite ones. And one was what I already said, which is the Eon and Iona duology. That was new to me. It's already finished. Unfortunately, my next one is, let me go. Where the F did it go? Oh, here we go. The Study series by Maria V. Snyder, and this is the first book, Poison Study. Still the only one in this series that I've read, but I've got the other two, and I already have bought some of her other books, like The Inside Out and the Glass something series. I got it back there. Mad Study Glass. No, not Study. F this. Storm Glass and something else. I've only got that first one, Storm Glass, right now because I really enjoyed Poison Study with one small scene as exception, and I cannot wait to read her other stuff. Most beautifully written book is number 8, and I have a hard time for this because I don't really go for books that have beautiful writing. So there were a couple, actually technically I thought the naming could have fit in this because it was kind of like poetic writing. The book itself was boring. And then I read Major Tales and Poems by Edgar Allan Poe, which had all of his big poems in there. It was really nice. I'm just not a poetry fan, and I only got that book because I wanted to read the Dupin mysteries. He was like the inspiration for Sherlock Holmes, that character, and that was really only why. Yeah, so I'm going to end up actually going with A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. This is kind of... He's the author of The Kite Runner, and the book itself is, well, the really only thing that's similar is that it's set with Afghanistan, has to do with the Taliban and all of that crap going on. I don't know that the actual prose itself was beautiful, but I thought the story was so beautiful. I tend to prefer more kind of minimalist writing in sentences, not purple prose. So things that I don't notice the actual writing and I just focus more on the story and what's going on is what I prefer. So I'm pretty ill qualified to answer this question, I think, but I'm going with this one, A Thousand Splendid Suns, because the ones where I thought the writing itself was kind of beautiful were not really my favorite books at all. Weirdly. So I'm going to just go to the next question. Number 9 is most thought-provoking or a book that grew on you. Well, I'm lucky because I have one that fits both categories, and that is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This is like this book is the first one of the Millennium Trilogy. It's a very hyped up, popular series, and it sounded really cool. This book, this is the mass market paperback too, so the regular trade paperback is quite a bit bigger. Probably like the first 200 pages or something were very boring. A lot of exposition and stuff that was just loosely related to the main plot was in there. And you know what? I don't know exactly how many pages it is, but the beginning was really boring, and I almost put the book down, but I'm like, no, when is this story going to actually get moving? I kept up with it. Uh, I had some problems with Stieg Larsson's writing style. It took some time to get used to because he likes to describe everything that is going on and everything that the characters are doing, even if it has no relevance to the story or plot whatsoever. Like the character he's, let's say, investigating a crime. On his way, he goes and stops at the bakery and buys a donut, and it will describe, the kind of donut and how he chatted with the cashier or something like that. Or he went to the grocery store and bought toilet paper and food and a magazine or crap like that. There's totally no relevance whatsoever, and that kind of stuff really bothered me. But still, the book itself is really thought-provoking. A lot of it having to do with the laws in Sweden, and which people think is, well, what I thought was that it's a very liberal country, but it still has some kind of conservative bias there by the people as a whole and the government, and kind of like some anti-feminist views and stuff. So it grew on me. And I've read the second book too. I still have not read The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest, but yeah, this is thought-provoking and grew on me, but it's not a favorite. Okay, book number 10, book you want to see made into a movie. I have a few, and some is going to be a repeat. Definitely the Eon and Iona duology. That would be really cool, kind of like a cross between maybe like Mulan and Avatar: The Last Airbender series, because that was in one is like the Asian girl disguised as a boy, and then in Avatar, not the movie, it's in an Asian-inspired world, not anywhere really in Asia, but it takes elements from a lot of Asian countries, which is really neat. Also, I think this one, Divergent, would be really cool as a movies. I think someone has already bought the rights. I know they're making the Hunger Games movies already. This would be really cool too, I think. And also, I probably would like to see 1,000 Splendid Suns as a movie. I've seen the Kite Runner movie, and that I really thought was just like a watered down version of the book. Good on its own, but yeah, it was watered down and toned down a lot of the grittier elements in the book, which kind of bothered me. But those are the main ones that I would want to see as movies right now. We're already on the last question 11, which is Wishlist for the second half of 2011. Well, if we're doing books that actually are coming out in that time, the one I'm looking forward to the most is The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. It will be the second one in the Heroes of Olympus series, which is kind of a sequel to the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Really looking forward to that. Also, kind of Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I know those books are coming out later this year. I don't really know what other books are coming out, so I can't say anything else as to that. Books I want to get or read, a lot of stuff. Yeah, pretty much all of my unread books. I want to read more of my Agatha Christie books because they're my big addiction, and then some of my like YA fantasy ones that I have bought and still not read. Like I want to start reading the Wicked Lovely series, the Wondrous Strange series, Eyes Like Stars, which I don't know what that series actually is called. The Air Trilogy by Cinda Williams Chima. I want to read other of Maria V. Snyder's works, and just way too many to list. So I am going to be going back to school, unfortunately, so I'm not going to have as much time for reading, but I've already hit 93 of my goal of 111 books this year, because I was kind of taking school into account and trying to read a lot of them now. So I hope that I have time really to still read and hopefully read good books and have time to enjoy them. Fingers crossed. So, yeah, looking forward kind of to the second half of this year, and I hope there's a lot of good books left to come.